Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is really true, is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass. Because, guys, almost 34 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, almost 34 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. There's a lot of people out there struggling, even with health, right? Addiction, even with recovery, family members. I want everyone to know someone is listening. I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. Please, please reach out. If you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com, and guess what? My book is now on audio, and you can get that from my website. And guess whose voice it is? Mine. So Simon & Schuster wanted to put my book to audio but use someone else's voice. I said absolutely not. My producer, who's here today, Ruben Rodriguez with Hamilton Radio and Iron Horse Films, is now doing books to audio with your voice. So if I have any authors out there who are interested in audio, okay, Ruben's the guy. Ruben's the guy. Before I introduce my really cool guests, I would like to give a shout out to a few of my sponsors today. First, I've got John Monforto, the man of many faces, singer, actor, celebrity impersonator, and tribute artist. So, guys, I gave him the nickname the man of many faces because he does over, like, close to 40 now. He's incredible. When I tell you off the charts, incredible. All right? But he was given the title from a former Philadelphia mayor as the official Philadelphia Rocky impersonator. Guys, he is Rocky. My three favorites, of course, Rocky, of course, The Godfather, and Elvis, baby. Thank you very much. He's amazing. And then we've got Michael D'Amore, singer, songwriter, performer, entertainer. www.michaeldamore.com. You got to check him out. Listen, I don't really say this about too many. I've only honestly said this about two entertainers. All right? Elvis is up here, right? Nobody can touch Elvis. Forget it. Michael D'Amore comes very close to Elvis. That's how incredibly good he is. You got to check him out, okay? And Carter Rubin, who won The Voice, we're all like family. So I interviewed Carter, and of course I had to push Michael down a notch and bring Carter up under Elvis. But all kidding aside, Michael D'Amore, unbelievable. Now, I was honored to MC at Let East the last couple of years with Michael D'Amore. We got John Monforto last year involved, and with this next guy I'm going to tell you about. Michael Zanman, singer, entertainer, performer, www.mzanman.com. So he's really cool, and he'll have you cracking up laughing while he's entertaining you, and you will love it. Something really great happened recently. So he recorded Mel Carter's Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, and posted it on Facebook. Well, he didn't know it, but I grabbed it and sent it to my buddy Mel. Mel called me and said, "Your boy did a great job." I said, "Can you tell him yourself?" I got him on a three-way and surprised him with Mel Carter, okay, telling him he did a great job with his song. Michael Zanman almost lost his breath, baby, okay? So check him out as well. He's really cool. Then I've got Stormin Norman Selden, 732-245-4777, www.storminnormanselden.com. Booking dozens of attractions for concerts and performances on venues of all sizes. This guy's got a 5 to 12 piece band. He is a beast on the keyboards. He brought his keyboards here live recently. He's now doing something great for seniors who are stuck at home. He's giving you keyboard lessons at your house. So if you're interested, please give him a call. A lot of people don't know this, but Stormin got Larry Chance started from back in the day. The song Remember Then? Larry Chance and the Earls. Larry was like family. Larry, we all miss you. Rest in peace, Angel. I know you're singing up there with Elvis, and I love you. Then I've got John Bishop, a.k.a. Johnny B., singer-songwriter, host of the Entertainment Luncheon South, a nonprofit network created for the creative. So, guys, he's also partnered with Joey D and Johnny B in the Rock and Oldies band. He's also now going solo. But I want to give a shout-out to him and his wife, Lenny, because they put on this luncheon once a month. It's $20, guys. It's by invite only, but if you tell them you know me, they might let you in. It's by invite only, and you get a great lunch, and you get incredible entertainment, and they promote the crap out of all of us. They're amazing, and they don't keep a penny of that money, so a huge shout-out to them. And finally, last but not least, Ken Ryan and Linda Garofalo, The Way It Used to Be, singing songs from the 50s to the 80s, a tribute show to the greatest music and voices of all time, and Ken also does Elvis for me, baby. That's right. So, now, having said all that, I want to introduce my really cool guest here. He's a personal friend from town, and his name is John Freda. Say hello.
Pleasure to meet you guys.
Tell us who this guy is.
This is my friend Freddie. He took the ride out with me. Freddie's known me out through my whole life growing up in Jersey City.
Talking to Mike, baby.
I'm right here.
Stay on the mic,
Like
baby.
his uncle.
Yeah, he is. Like Paisan.
So
Uncle.
we invited him to hang out with us. So the reason why I've got this guy on here was because he was talking about writing. Well, he was writing this book, and I told him as soon as it's done, we're going to get you on here. So the book is out. Show everyone your book and tell them the title.
This is a book. The Tough Guys Called Me Mister is the title of the book. It's about growing up in Jersey City, in a tough neighborhood of Jersey City back in the 70s and 80s, and it sparked on my my mom's sickness of dying of cancer, and me becoming an amateur fighter and winning the Golden Gloves, and then going on to being a professional fighter.
So that's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I
Very
have
cool.
a silly question for you.
Yes.
All right.
I'm into silliness.
All right. So
Look who I'm with.
listen, I've interviewed a lot of fighters and boxers. Chuck Wepner, I interviewed him.
Yep. Whitney, I was on the air with you.
There
Right?
you go. All right. And I've interviewed Roxy, her and the girls. I mean, I've interviewed a lot of them. I just don't understand something. Why do you guys like to get beat up?
It's not that we like to get up. It's not really. It's sort of grown up in an era when competition was at its tops, and it just goes, who wants to win it, who wants to be the best, and I wasn't one for playing basketball. I had to depend on 4 other players to winning a basketball game or being on a baseball team. And I know there's tennis and everything else like that, but I was a rough kid, so boxing was the way for me to go anyway.
So I interviewed someone many years ago. He was a fighter as well, and he became a security guard. And what he said to me off air was really interesting. He said, Jer, it wasn't that we actually liked to fight, and it wasn't that we wanted to beat people up. We needed to know we could take the punches.
No, it's all about self. All about yourself, about getting up. That's what it is. No matter how hard you get hit, you got to know you got to be able to get up and go at it again. It's like life. I mean, your life is tough out there, and you get knocked down all the time, and you got to get yourself up and go every day. And nothing's easy in this life.
Can I ask you something? And I don't know what's in the book. I haven't read it yet. And he actually didn't bring me my copy. Imagine that. All right. Listen. So
You get punched in the head for a living for 40 years.
Many times.
So listen. This is what I want to ask you. Were you abused as a child?
Negative.
Okay, good. Some of them were, though.
No, I was not.
No, but some of them were, they said, and that's what made them...
Well, I had an older
outside.
cousin that was a little abusive. It's in the book.
Okay.
He used to try to toughen me up when I was a kid, rubbing my
That's
head.
different.
Yeah, but other than that,
No.
never. I had a loving family and everything else like that, but I also had a problem with that family because they were all. It wasn't that a problem. It's that all my siblings are at least 10 years older than me, so I was like the Johnny come lately, and they were all in their lives married and stuff like that. When my mom got sick, I was living home alone with my mom, and making dinners by myself and doing everything when she was in the hospitals and everything. It's just tough. It's all in the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you have to say, Unc?
Oh, we're basically from a very close-knit neighborhood, predominantly Italian neighborhood, so we're used to getting beat up from Italian women. So that's and you know that, you're Petito, right? So you can beat up a lot of guys, I can imagine. But basically, John's story is one of many from our neighborhood.
So,
Very close-knit neighborhood.
okay, so I have a question then. So, when you grew up in Jersey City, all right, did you have a lot of problems? Were you bullied? Any of that stuff?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Not really.
Okay, did you fight a lot, street fighting?
No, I ran a lot to stay out of fighting.
You ran a lot.
Yeah.
He ran towards it.
Yeah, exactly. I ran away
You
from
ran away, he ran towards it.
Exactly.
All right, so what makes that happen? What makes one person want to run away from it and one person want to run towards it?
Good question, right?
Okay.
John?
Well, I used to run from it too, but then there's time, you gotta stop running, you gotta confront what the problem is, and that's what I did. I got tired, and after the first knockout, especially in high school, it's in the book. I didn't have any issues in high school at all, and I went to a great Catholic high school, St. Anthony's High School in Jersey City. We were known for our basketball teams, and everybody. We was a small school. Everybody knew each other. It was great, but we had an outsider come in that came to the school, and I guess he was with the basketball team, and I wasn't really like playing varsity or anything like that, but I was playing JV, and it came down to us fighting. I knocked him out where everybody saw it, and I never had a problem after that. And I'm not a bully. I'm not, but he's the one that started with me. I wasn't looking for a problem. I'm the most easiest person to get along with, even to this day. But I also got, when you get me going, I forget it. Any fox, no one wants to mess with a professional boxer, a professional wrestler, a professional anything when it comes to fighting. We've been trained so long on trying to hurt people. I mean, and you get people that have a couple of beers in them and they think, they get tough or anything. They don't know what it's like to go 3 minutes of hard fighting. That's only one round, People can't even go more than like 30, 40 seconds before they're winded by throwing punches and everything. I mean, that's nothing to us,
All right, so tell us about your award.
Which award?
I don't know, awards. What you
I won the Golden Gloves in 1982.
So tell us about
Oh yeah, well, like I said, I was fighting as an amateur in New Jersey, and I was racking up a string of wins, after a couple of losses when I first started, and then I just kept going and going, and I met this gentleman named Dan Thomas from Old Bridge, New Jersey. When I had to move down there when my mom died, I had to move with my sister Pat because of I couldn't live in the apartment by myself anymore. So I lived with her, and I had to finish my last 6 months or 4 months of high school at another school, which also I became friends with. But when those kids heard that I used to box, or I boxed, they always used to come to the fights and everything. So it was a great turnout, and everything was awesome. So when I started, I had a couple of really tough fights, getting to the gloves, and I succeeded in doing everything by knockout. And then I go into the gloves, and I breezed right through it. And I won the light heavyweight championship of New Jersey. And after that, I had no other alternative. I had no outlet to go into college. There was no money to go to college. There was no anybody home to help direct me to go to college or anything like that. So I had just picked up right where I left off. I turned pro when I was 19 years old as a professional boxer. And hindsight is 2020. I should have waited till at least I was like 21 to get a couple more years under the belt as an amateur. But I still went on undefeated as a pro up until about my 8th fight, and I lost a decision, which I shouldn't have even fought because I was sick. But I give credit to the guy that I fought. He beat me fair and square. It is what it is. And that was it. I had 1 loss, 10 wins, and about 7, 8 knockouts. I don't even remember.
So, okay, so is that the amount of fights you've had?
Yes.
total?
Once
That's pretty cool.
and then once I had found out I was supposed to fight on an undercard in Madison Square Garden. I was making my Madison Square Garden debut. And in New Jersey, you didn't have to have a CAT scan or an MRI or anything like that. But once you were in New York, you had to have a CAT scan. So they did a CAT scan in my brain, and they denied my license because they said I had lesions on the frontal part of my brain, which they didn't permit. They said I had brain damage. So, hindsight's 2020. I'm glad I stopped when I did, but I at that time of my life, I was in the best shape of my life, and I was racking up wins, and it was really the hard thing to quit. But I quit.
So did you make a decent amount of money at the time?
I never made any money.
Oh.
The only decent amount of money I made is when I fought on ESPN, but that was only a couple of grand, and it was nothing. I was just at the break where I was going to start making money, and it just everything went right into the dump.
Okay.
But it is what it is, Hopefully now, I got my story out, and we'll see what happens.
So how long have you been in his life?
Oh, good 30 years or so, John.
Yeah, at least easily.
How old are you now, John?
Me, I'm 62.
Okay. So you weren't in his life at that time when he was
No.
doing all that?
No.
Okay.
Actually came to live with me afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's another story.
That's another story. Okay, can you share a little bit about that or no?
Yeah, well, John, you were after your second marriage, or?
Yeah, second marriage.
And he sold his house, and he was between jobs and whatever. And I said, look, I got a house down the shore in Belmar, and he came to live with me and my brother-in-law and another friend of mine, Tony. And
What a blast we had.
We had a blast.
Oh my God.
It was a blast.
How long did he live there?
A little over a year.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I just had to take him in because see the size of John? He's got a heart bigger than
Oh,
his
yes.
size.
I know. Yes, he does.
So that makes up for everything.
Yes.
And
So,
from where we come from, friendship is everything.
Lasts forever, right?
Like, see that wall? He'll go through that wall if I tell him.
that's right.
And that's
I get
what,
it.
and he knows I will, but I'll bounce off the wall.
He'll try, though. He'll try.
But he's
It's the attempt that counts.
sweetheart,
Yes.
big
Yeah.
sweetheart.
So, all right, let's talk about this book a little bit more now. So, is that you?
Yes.
So, look at him, man. Wow. All right, and so now, let's see. Top ranked boxing in AC, New Jersey.
That was the ESPN fight.
Yeah.
And if you notice up here, they should say they called me the miniature Marciano.
Okay, so tell us about that, Marciano.
Well, they compared me to Marciano because I used to fight. Well, it could be the reason why I had brain damage because I would knock everybody up. I basically hit them in the body, breaking their lung,
Devastating punches. Devastating.
Yeah, to the ribs and everything. That were body punches.
Yuck.
Yeah, I didn't want to hit people in the head,
So
but they hit me in the head.
So they hit you in the head
Yeah.
and you just broke their ribs.
Yeah. Well, it's like my theory is like when you want to chop down a tree, where do you hit it? You don't take it from the top. You take it from the bottom.
Oh, boy.
So the pictures are in the middle of the book. If you want to look at
Let's
this. And I did the book as an easy read. I did 15 rounds, and each round consists of maybe 4 or 5 little chapters. And it's like I said, an easy read. The words are big, and I keep the chapters short and to the point, and it gives you the quick background and everything of getting the book to the point, and not just adding words to make it big. Am I just right to the point? Am I with everything?
So I have a question. I don't know if you can even answer this because it's going to sound kind of silly maybe to fighters, but did you have a favorite fight? Does that even happen?
There's a favorite fight that I have,
All right.
and it was in Total Ice World, and it was against this gentleman named Bobby Duncan, and you'll see him. I knocked him out in the fourth round, and I used to have it on videotape, but the videotape something happened to it. My friend Pat Prisco has had the tape because he fought on the same card. He has the tape of all the fights, and I've been waiting for this fight now for it has to be 15 years for him
What's
to.
his name?
Pat Prisco.
No, I mean the fight.
Oh, the fighter I fought. I just said it.
Bobby was
Bobby Duncan.
Duncan.
Oh, okay. Duncan.
Bobby Duncan.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. And it was 4 tough rounds of fighting. He was a Duva Duva fighter. Lou Duva's family, the Duva family, and it was a test for me. Actually, I thought I was supposed to lose the fight, but I didn't. I prevailed.
So why do you think you were supposed to lose the fight? What does that mean?
Because I didn't fight in a couple of years,
Oh,
and the guy was already a seasoned fighter, and I think he was like a 6 or an 8 round fighter, and I was only going in for 4 rounds, so it was okay, I mean, but it was a tough competition.
So, all right. So I'm going to ask you some questions from people who know nothing about fighting and boxing and all that. Just from what we observe and growing up and rumors we hear. All right? Are any of them fixed?
No, not that I know of.
Okay, not that you know of. Okay.
I mean, there could be something where, like, you're not prepared enough to go into a fight, and knowing, if someone that jumps into a fight and they weren't trained properly or whatever else like that because they needed to fill something that someone backed out of the fight or something, or got sick or got hurt. I mean, there could be something like to that effect, but it's nothing done intentionally. Everybody has a shot to get in there.
Okay.
I mean, it's highly illegal if they did fix fights, but especially like back in the day, back in the 20s and 30s, these guys used to have hundreds of fights. Like they have 100 fights. They used to go they'd have a fight, and then the next night or two they would fight because they would only make a few dollars back in the early days, the 20s and the 30s and 40s, and they would just fight every couple of days, and there was nothing. Brain scans. There wasn't anything like this. They were just tough people. And you look at these records. People had like 140 fights and like 70 something knockouts, and it was nuts.
In today's world, that's insane.
Forget it. If people now have like 30, 40 fights in their career, they'll let some of them become multimillionaires. And it's really sad to say there should be some type of a union or something for boxing, because there's so much money in boxing that it's a shame that people are not taken care of. And there are fighters that are out there that made millions of dollars, and they weren't trained. They only trained in the gym. They didn't know how it is to manage money. You give these people millions of dollars. They have all these people that latch onto them, that are on the payroll, or the managers paying everybody that they shouldn't be paying. I mean, there should be somebody watching over these people, because they are actually getting hit in the head. They can't think straight. And especially when I retired, with all the punches that I had, you had to, how would I say? You had to think for yourself, and you had to, what do I do now? And where am I going to go from here? And it got very depressing, and people suffer, from depression, and some people kill themselves. You see,
You're right.
And it's just a terrible thing, and like football players, the people that work the line, they all have people claim they have CTE, the brain disease, and I know that's probably what I have, right? But they can't really tell anything unless you do a biopsy on your brain. They only tell you that when you're dead, if he had CTE or not, and it's a terrible thing. But they watch out for football players. But the biggest sport that makes millions of dollars, they don't look out for the fighter. I have a friend of mine, Bobby Joe Young. He made hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe a couple of million. I don't even know, but he was a world ranked welterweight, and I have photos of him I could show you later on, and I have videos. He was in Bayonne YMCA, living in a YMCA. He had nothing. He had no meals. I had friends of mine in Bayonne that owned Cool's Tavern, and I told my friend Kevin, who owned Cool's, if you ever see my friend Bobby Joe go in there, give him a meal and put it on my bill. I will pay you whatever he gets anytime he goes in there. No
Why
alcohol.
did he lose all that money?
Because there was no guidance. He didn't have a family, he didn't have a wife, and he just spent money frivolously, and it just goes. And if you have no income coming in, he was the only person that knocked out Aaron Pryor. Aaron Pryor's only loss was to Bobby Joe Young. You know where Bobby Joe Young is right now? He's in a hospital, not a hospital, what do you call it, centers where they take care of you? You make sure you
like
get
a
your
rehab place.
A rehab
Rehab,
place.
yeah.
That's where he's at right now in Virginia, somewhere. His sister had to come get him because they basically threw him out of the YMCA. He was living on the streets, and I tried helping him, but I could only help him so far. I wasn't family or anything. I couldn't do anything for him. You got to sign papers, and his sister came up and took care of him, got him out of the hospital and everything at a Bayonne, and then took him down there and got him all straightened out. And I spoke to him not too long ago, and even with the brain damage he had and everything else like that, and I didn't speak to him in over maybe 4 years because I couldn't find him for a long time. But now I finally found him. I have to go visit him soon. But as soon as he heard my name on the phone, I said, "Bobby, you all right?" He knew who was right on the phone. John, hold on a second. I'm just talking to the nurse. So he spoke to the nurse. They came back to me. Hey, John, what's happening? That's something right there. It's just a shame what happens to us. And he can't walk. He can't go far from a bathroom because we got a lot of punches to the kidneys and everything else like that. And his kidneys were affected. It was.
All right, so then listen, I have a question. Again, first of all, I'm a woman.
Right.
I'm not into fighters.
And there
I'm
are
not
women
into
fighters now too.
And there are. And that's where I was just going with it. All right? So now there's even female fighting. These people know when they start doing this, they're going to have a lot of damage done to their bodies. Why are they okay with that?
They don't think. I didn't think I was going to get brain damage.
But you had to know you were going to get damaged.
I'm sure, but I never got knocked out. I got to say that.
But
I
you
never
got
got
punched
knocked out.
a lot.
Oh yeah, I got punched a lot. But
So-
I'm just saying, how could you say?
I
John,
don't get it.
Listen, there's
You're
a.
a pugilist. You were what's your famous saying? I was born to throw.
I was born to throw. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Some
There's a
people are
saying
born
that
to it.
Franklin D. Roosevelt said. He says, "The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood. If he fails, at least he fails daring greatly, so his place won't be with those cold and timid souls who've neither tasted victory nor defeat."
I love that. I absolutely love that.
And that's what it's all about. That's what it is.
Okay.
You wanted an explanation, I gave it to you.
Okay.
I remembered that saying since I was a kid.
That was
And
a beautiful saying.
Yes, it really is. Yep, and it explains it. It was after World War II. It was how we were going to come back from World War II and win the war. And that's what he said. And I applied that to fighting, boxing. Same thing. We're going to war every time.
I can see that. All right, so now, who was your favorite boxer or fighter or wrestler? Who were your favorites?
I got to say, one of my favorites was this gentleman named Vito Antifermo, who, when I was a kid, was the middleweight champion of the world. And as a kid, I'm going to this gym now in New York, and he lost to a gentleman in England, Alan Minter, and then Marvin Hagler beat Marvin Hagler. No, he didn't beat Marvin Hagler. He fought Marvin Hagler to a draw. He retained his middleweight championship. Then he fought a gentleman named Alan Minter in England. He lost the decision. He lost the title, and then Marvin Hagler fought him. Alan Minter won the title, and then he gave Vito Antuofermo another shot at the title to see who would win. And then I think he got stopped before 10 rounds. I forget what it was. Maybe 7 rounds. He got stopped on bleeding, on cuts. But Vito was always because he was a tough man.
Okay.
He never got knocked out. So now I'm at this gym called Ringside Gym in New York, and who's there? Vito Antuofermo.
No.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And now Panama Lewis was one of the trainers up there who, I don't want to get into that story. We'll talk about Panama another time. But he puts me in the ring with my idol, with Vito Antuofermo.
At the gym.
At the gym.
Did you get photos?
I have photos. He's a good friend of mine, Vito, and he's in one of those
Okay.
homes too now.
But
And
that
really
must
cool.
have been incredible for
Oh,
you.
I was afraid, but then again, I said, "What am I afraid of?" I felt his punches, and his punches didn't feel any worse than anybody else's punches that I felt.
You had to hit him.
I got hit by heavyweights. I was a super middleweight at the time, but I got hit by heavyweights because
Oh,
I was
my
a super
God.
middleweight. So I used to fight lightweights that were 135. I used to fight heavyweights that were in the 220s. So I fought everybody, and he was only like 160. And his punches didn't bother me. So we would go to war, and I felt, here I am going toe to toe with one of the world
That's pretty
champions.
cool, though.
And then I would fight with Iron Barkley, who became a world champion. I used to fight with Hector Camacho, who was a champion. And that's what I said. That's why I would get out of this ring.
Galata.
And
keep going.
Andrew Gallat, I fought everybody. And that's why this book is named after. They used to say, I used to get out of the ring, and I do so well against them in the gym. They said, well, what do you think, you're a tough guy? I said, nope, I don't think I'm a tough guy, but the tough guys call me mister.
I love it.
Yeah, and it was just a funny saying I used to say. And they loved the title of the book. It became great.
So I have a question. So who else are some of your faves? Fighters
Well,
or-
it was always Ali, there was
course.
Tyson. I mean,
Yeah.
Tyson was coming up in my time. I mean, I thought that kid was phenomenal. And I felt that if he never got hooked up with Don King, he would be undefeated to this day, and he could have been like Rocky Marciano. He could have been great. And what he's doing now, he's trying to, he lost a lot of money, and now he just recouped all this money fighting this kid on the air, who has his own podcast, whatever. I don't know. I don't even know his name, but it's just terrible. They're making it to be a sideshow. I mean, boxing's something where, it should be more than this, and the people who take up the sport should be taken care of. They should be watched out after because they're getting punched in the head. They don't know how to think right for themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's kind of like the Roman gladiators,
Yeah.
They fought till they died. So there was really no respect.
And when I tell you, when I retired, I mean, I didn't know what to do with myself. I would go to work and still go to the gym to train. I mean, I would still spar, I sparred, Andrew Galata when he was getting ready for Tyson. I knocked down Andrew Galata in the first round of our sparring session. I go walking back to my corner, and then I see my legs go up in the air. He picks me up, and he body slams me. And we're fighting from the ground. They rip us apart. And he storms out of the gym. He wound up losing to Mike Tyson, I think, in the third round. He quit. He couldn't believe it. I mean, but there was something mentally wrong with him anyway. But then again, he made millions of dollars, and I put him down in the first round. I never got a shot at anything. That was, and I was always at the point of making money or doing something always got in the way. But it was all right. It is what it is. Story of my life.
So, okay, so Chuck Wepner, All right.
Love
so-
Chuck.
Yeah. So I interviewed him. You know that.
Yes.
And I watched, and again, it was a lot for me to do. Trust me, but I watched the whole fight.
Yep.
Okay, I had to. With him and Ali, right?
Yep.
Because at the end, Ali apparently would say that he tripped over his own foot.
He said that Webner stepped on his foot.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
That he didn't knock him out.
It was a hard no,
he
knock
didn't
out,
knock him
knocked
out.
him down. No, not knock him out, knock him down.
Yeah, he didn't knock him down.
But he got hit with a hard punch.
Yes, but wait, real quick.
Yeah.
So he says he didn't knock him down. He tripped over his foot. That Wepner, whatever.
Right.
But at the end, he whispers something in Wepner's ear. And do you know what that was? Because I watched the documentary. It was
No.
really cool. He said, "You're one guy I don't want to see in a dark alley."
Right.
So Ali said that to Wepner. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you hit somebody, you keep hitting somebody, and they don't go down. That was me. I was the same way. You'd hit me, I wouldn't go anywhere. I'd be coming back. I would get mad that I'm getting hit, that I'm doing something wrong. I would get mad at myself, and then just keep digging in and just going to the body and just. I got to tell you a story about Chuck Wepner that, and I think I told you this once before. I was at a party someplace in not Manasquan. Well, I was at a party in Jersey somewhere, and Chuck shows up because the guy was a salesman where Chuck sold alcohol, because that was how he made his living. So I'm there with my then son, who was about 12, 13 years old, and I knew Chuck, and Chuck knew me, because we used to go to Bufano's gym when we first started out. And Chuck sat my son down and spoke to him for about half an hour.
Okay.
And he didn't mention anything about him fighting Ali, about his career. Anything.
Rocky,
He totally
Rocky movie.
nothing at all. He only spoke of his father, me, about my career. And I thought that was the biggest thing a giant like him
Amazing.
could do.
Okay.
Amazing.
A lot of people don't know this, but the Rocky movie was about Chuck Wepner, guys.
The original one.
That's
the,
right,
The
the
original
original
Rocky,
one.
because that's where Sylvester Stallone got the idea
Yep.
of doing it, but he was smart enough to not use any of the names.
Yeah.
He changed all the names. And you know what? I gotta give Stallone credit, man. He did a great job. He made him Italian instead of whatever Chuck.
But he
Chuck's
ended
nice.
up giving Chuck some money,
Undisclosed.
Yeah.
No,
In a lawsuit.
that was on
Yeah.
that was on the show.
Undisclosed. I don't know. I don't get involved in that.
No. Chuck
Because I'm
said-
still trying to meet Sylvester Stallone.
Me too. I told you we're having a competition.
My friend of mine, our friend, our roommate from
Mutual friend.
our roommate that we had in Belmar, Anthony Bolero.
Does a lot of work.
He does
for
a
him.
lot of. He's a pristine woodworker, so he did all Stallone's closets when he moved to Palm Beach, and he did his bar and everything. So, and I even when I was down there, I spoke to the builder who's best friends with Stallone. And I told him about my career and everything. He goes, he would love to meet you, but it's just like we can't get our schedules
Yeah.
to mesh to meet one another.
Because even when I interviewed his brother, right?
Frank, I remember
Frankster,
that. I called,
baby.
Yep,
Frank Stallone.
yep,
Yes.
Yep.
Um,
I called in.
we had like a 2-hour interview because he was waiting for a delivery guy. So he was just hanging out.
Yeah.
It was great. But even he said it's tough. It's tough because I just want a hello from the guy.
Yeah. I sparred his heavyweight that he had, him and Sly. They had a heavyweight that when they were doing that show that time about the boxers and thinking that people, I forget the name of the show that they did, but they would promote fighters on TV to see how far they would go in the professional ranks. And I tried out for it, and they had me spar this monster who was a heavyweight. And Frank goes to me after one round, he goes, "Wow, you're pretty good." I said, "Yeah, I know. I am good." I said, he goes, "Can you go another couple of rounds?" He goes, "We can't get anybody to spar him." So I
Okay.
did another couple of rounds with him. So it was fun meeting Frank. I really wanted to meet Stallone, but it was fun meeting Frank.
Stallone owes me a hello. I almost got killed because of him. I almost got shot in Russia because of Stallone. Do you know this story?
No, I don't.
Okay. I've traveled all over the world on hell tours. back in the 80s, I was in Russia, China, when it was still communist, had machine guns pointed at me at both places. We were there for a month each trip with Lenox Hill Hospital. Okay, I'm in Russia, and the only thing I was in my 20s, all right, so the only thing we were told was we couldn't talk to any Russians, all right? The only Russian we were allowed to communicate with was our Russian tour guide, who was good friends with our American tour guide. So the two women were friends, okay? We weren't allowed to stay in any hotels where Russians were going to stay. It had to be just tourist hotels, and we couldn't shop in any Russian stores. We had to shop in Beryaska's, and we had to use our own money. We weren't allowed to have Russian money. Got it? All right. So I'm a chess player, and I used to bring my chess set. It's a little box. You open it up, and pieces are in it.
Right.
I traveled with this everywhere to play people all over the world, right? Imagine in Russia playing chess. So we have a free afternoon. I go down. I have my chess box with me, and I get a juice at an organic juice bar in the hotel. And as I'm ready to pay for my juice, a hand comes over my shoulder with Russian money. A man is paying for my juice with Russian money, which means he's Russian, and he's allowed in the hotel, and he's got to be someone important. So I turn around, and he had an interpreter with him, and his interpreter said, he wants to play you in chess. I said, yes. Okay, I'm going to play a real Russian in Russia in chess. We're sitting in the lobby. What do you like? What do you like? What do you like? He likes boxing. Do you like Rocky? He loves Rocky. Did you see Rocky, what was it for? The one
Yeah,
with the
with
Russian?
Drago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the interpreter says they didn't allow it in our country. Wow. That one.
That's amazing.
Idiot says, loud.
You?
That's because we beat the Russian. But if you give me your address, I'll send you the tape. Yes. The doorman first comes at me with a gun. They stand up, so wait till you hear who they were. They stand up in front of me screaming at him and made him run off, and he's running off like this. And they said, we have to get you out of here. So they take me into the elevator, and as the elevator doors are closing, they slam open with two men with machine guns. All right? They get in front of me, start screaming in Russian, the doors close, and they're going like this to me in the elevator. They bring me up to their suite. They have an apartment. He's going like this with me, right? The only thing we had in our rooms at the time were wooden beds and a desk. But they had a radio in the wall. But we were young. We were in our 20s. Our tour guide should have told us, what was in the wall.
Is that candy? Can I get one of those?
What was in the wall. All right? So they could hear everything. Brings me into his suite with its interpreter, and they're telling me to be quiet. They take something out of the radio, and they're like, now we can talk. Okay?
Amazing.
All right. So we talked all night, and what I learned was that this man was the grandson of the Russian mafia at the time. It was his grandfather.
Like an oligarch.
And
yeah.
that is why he was allowed to be wherever he wanted, and that is why he saved my life.
Wow.
Wow.
So Stallone owes me a hello because I almost got killed because of him. Right?
There you go.
And I got Russian
if I
money.
ever meet him, I'll tell him your brother, and I'll tell him that you interviewed your brother, and she wants to interview you,
Or a hello.
or even a hello.
Even a
That's
hello.
right. I'll take it.
I got Russian
I
money
wish-
from him, too.
I wish he would just take a picture with my book. That would be tremendous.
That would be incredible,
My
right?
friend Anthony sent him a book,
Okay.
so he's got the book.
All right. So
That's-
that's
well,
cool.
we're hoping that he takes a picture with it. That would be great.
So, all right, so what else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What else you want to talk about?
So, let's go to your uncle.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Now you're in trouble.
So, who are some of your favorite fighters?
Rocky Marciano, going back
Okay.
from the 50s, because I'm a little older than him. I'm a lot older than him.
A lot older than him.
But, following all, many, many boxers. Basilio, all Italian. Carmen Basilio, remember?
Yep.
Johnny?
Yep. Carmen Basilio. You had,
Who else can? Willie Pep. I mean, my father was a big boxing fan. He would tell me about who else? Who fought in Jersey City?
Even what do you call it? Frankie DePaula.
Yeah, Frankie
You had
DePaula.
Frankie DePaula. You had
He fought Foster for the championship, right?
who was
Bob Foster?
Ray Mancini.
Ray Mancini. Yeah.
All Italian fighters we're talking. Sorry.
Mostly Italian fighter.
Yeah.
All right.
And Vito Antifermo, like I said, he was the man.
Yeah.
He was the champ, and That was one of my heroes, and I got to spar him. And now he's one of my best friends. I could call him right now. He'll know exactly who.
You can?
Yeah.
Will he answer?
Yes, definitely.
Let's do it.
Hold on.
Oh, you have to do it with your phone.
I can give you.
Did you shut
No,
it
no, no.
down?
You have to do it with your phone because he won't.
Yeah, he won't. Well,
Who's
he doesn't know the number one I call.
That's right. And put him up to the mic. We got to hear him.
I can't tell him though I'm on a radio show because I don't know how.
Then don't call him. We got to tell him he's on the radio.
All right, but what I'm saying, I don't know where his head's at right now.
Just say hello.
All right,
Like it was a
call Vito Interfermo.
Let's see what happens here, guys.
Speaker.
Tell him we're talking about him.
Get him close to the mic, yeah.
Get it up higher. I mean the volume. Get that volume up, baby. Think he'll answer, guys?
I don't know. We'll see. A lot of times people pick him up too, take him to lunch.
Please leave your message for.
All right.
Hi, my name is Vito. Please leave me a message.
Hi, Vito. This is Geri Petito. I'm a crazy radio lady. I do radio interviews with Hamilton Radio, and I've got your buddy here, John Freda, live on air. And he was talking about you. Listen, I'm just telling you, all right? He talks about you a lot, all right? So I told him, stop talking about you, man, all right? So I just wanted to say hello, honey. Here he goes.
Call us back, Vito.
Vito, give me a call when you get a chance. Love you, man.
So.
Yeah, so that's and it's funny because when people tell me, to talk about fighters, and I can't name them off the list, but I have everybody in basically in my phone, and I said, Vito Interfermo. I said, I know Vito Interfermo. I have a friend of mine, Richard DiCarado. He lives now in Virginia, but I met him out in California, and we used to train together in California. And he goes, I said, maybe we should go to my friend Buddy McGurt's gym. And he goes, you don't know Buddy. I said, I don't know Buddy. I said, Buddy's like one of my best friends. He was world champion when we were kids.
This is crazy.
And then, I brought him to Buddy's house, and he couldn't believe it until he was in his house. It's pretty amazing. And even I got to know, not on a first name basis, but through sight and everything else. Like Larry knows who I am. Larry Holmes.
Oh, okay.
Jerry Cooney.
Okay.
And we had another a champion from Jersey City called Mark. His name was Mark Medell. He was a lightweight champion, great champion, strong kid. He was like a toothpick, but he was knocking everybody out. It was amazing the power this kid had. And a lot of fighters, and I got to mention this: the gym we used to all train in was called Bafano's Gym in Jersey City. And I tell you, you would fight people like Chuck Wepner, and the ring was 10 by 10.
So that's.
You know how big Chuck was, right?
No, but wait. So I'm not into all this. So is that small for a ring?
Rings are usually 18 feet
Oh, okay.
square,
Okay.
but better.
Well, you heard that you can run, but you can't,
Can't hide. Well, you couldn't with this.
Couldn't even run in that.
You saw how big Chuck was, right? You get in the ring with him, and you got 10 feet square.
You're done.
You're done. You have to fight. That's where you learn to fight. And we used to have wars. We were best friends, all of us in the gym, and we wanted to kill each other. But it only helped us because in the ring, you would go a lot easier because you wouldn't fight as hard, and you'd have so much stamina because you would go hard every time you would fight at Bafano's. So you get in the gym, and the fight went easy. You knocked the people out in like 2-3 rounds, and you didn't even really get a sweat. And that's why we used to go hard with one another.
So
And
John,
I got to make mention of two.
Go ahead.
Nino Gonzalez. He was a welterweight from Bayonne. He fought Roberto Duran after Roberto lost the no mas fight with Sugar Ray Leonard.
I know both of those names.
And let me
Roberto
tell you
and Sugar
something.
Ray.
Nino Gonzalez was only 22 years old, and he. If you look at that fight could have went either way. But I have definitely Nino winning the fight. He was the aggressor. He did everything, and because he fought a name like Roberto Duran, like you said, the fights aren't fixed, but the name it should be name association too, and plus and it's such a shame because Nino should have won that fight. I just want to make that mention.
So now, what about them buying your book? Where can they get it?
Right now, it's on Amazon. That's the only place right now where we can get it. That's who I'm dealing with right now, and I never wrote a book before, as you tell. I'm new to this, and I'm very proud on how the book came out because just a little over 14 months ago, it was December 18th or 16th in 2024. I was drinking a lot, and I had an episode that happened that shouldn't have happened, and I promised myself I would never drink again. And plus, I was seeing a psychiatrist for psych problems, with the brain damage and everything else like that. And they had me on all kinds of medication that wasn't really working for me. So I stopped everything. I stopped doing everything. I stopped pills. I stopped alcohol. And now, Jerry, as you know, as of last week, I've started a new regimen. Now, since I'm doing so well with that, I'm fighting the food war because I want to lose weight, and I'm doing well against that too. So I hope to move forward with that.
Okay. So now, tell everyone again the title of your book.
The Tough Guys Called Me Mister by John Freda.
Okay, guys. So, guys, this was a great interview.
Thank you, Jerry. I really appreciate it.
Both of you.
Thank you.
Same here.
This was cool. Two silly guys, right?
Amen.
My little ass right here.
There you go.
We're
You can
identical
say
twins,
ass. You can say ass. That's right. It was great.
Yeah.
So keep me posted.
Please get in touch with Amazon.
Yep.
You love the book. Please give me a 5-star rating.
Yep.
Please give me a great review. I think you really love the book. Not because I wrote it, but I'm just saying.
I think you're going to love it even because he wrote it. It doesn't matter.
And he's a hell of a guy.
So
Thank
he
you.
is.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you, dear.
All right, producer, take us out, baby.
Was that good?
That was great.
Perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is really true, is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a